In today's video, I'm going to teach you how to connect Supabase to Zapier. We'll be using Zapier's webhooks feature to send requests directly to your Supabase project, which is a flexible way to connect the two platforms when you want more control over how data moves. To get started, open your Supabase dashboard and go into the project you want to connect. Once you're inside that project, head to Project Settings. This is where Supabase keeps the connection details you'll need for Zapier. From there, open the API Keys tab. In this section, copy your project URL and your anon or public API key. These two pieces of information are essential because Zapier will use the project URL to know where to send the request and the API key to authenticate it. Be careful when handling keys and only use the appropriate public key for this kind of setup. Next, switch over to Zapier and add an action step. For the app, choose Webhooks by Zapier. This lets you create a direct API request to Supabase instead of relying on a pre-built app connection. Once the webhook step is added, choose either custom request or a standard post or get request. The option you pick depends on what you want Zapier to do. For example, post is commonly used to send new data, while get is typically used to retrieve existing data. Custom request gives you a little more flexibility if you need it. After that, format the request so it points to your table endpoint in Supabase. In other words, you'll build the request URL using your project URL and the specific table you want Zapier to interact with. Make sure the endpoint is accurate because even a small typo can cause the request to fail. Now add the required headers. First, include an API key header and paste in your anon or public API key as the value, then add the authorization header. For that one, the value should be bearer followed by your anon or public API key. These headers tell Supabase that the request is allowed and help authenticate the connection properly. At this stage, your Zap should be configured to communicate with Supabase. Before moving on, it's a good idea to review the URL, request type, and both headers carefully. Most connection issues come from small formatting mistakes, especially in the endpoint or authorization fields. Once everything looks correct, you're ready to test the connection inside Zapier and confirm that your request reaches Supabase successfully. And that's how to connect Supabase to Zapier